right.
Alrighty.
I have
No topics?
not for just the two of us.
Oh, shit.
I
We're
could
going to wing
look-
it. We're going to wing it, fellas
I could look at
and lady.
our one listener.
Our one listener. Oh, our one listener. I don't know if you know
We don't
this.
even have one.
I don't know if you know this, one listener, but we really appreciate you.
Thanks for listening. This was all for you, that one listener.
You know, and as our listener, you should believe that. We are doing this for you. No matter where you're at or who you are, we are doing this for you.
Welcome to the Untitled Car Project podcast. I'm Rob Spring.
And Jeremy Molt.
We are short a player right now, but we're going to go ahead and hit some topics and just see where it takes us. If you want to catch us on Instagram, it's at Untitled Car Project, or you can send us an email at untitledcarproject@gmail.com. No phone numbers yet, no voicemails. Maybe someday when we're rich and famous, that'll happen.
It'll be an 800 number, so you don't have to pay for it.
900 number, man. Let's make some money on this thing. 188.
I don't know if I have a voice for 900 number. Somebody might be into it, but
we'll have Grant do it. He'll just giggle his way through it.
Yes, he will. He might own it. Have you
probably
ever
would.
Have you ever heard him
He's
turn
quite
on
the actor.
Have you ever heard him turn on the Grand Tana?
No, just tiny little bits, nothing.
Man.
But I mean, I've seen him do karaoke, and holy cow.
Yeah. Okay, since we're on the karaoke topic, and we have no real topics today, you know those Korean karaoke bars where you go in and you rent a private room?
Yes.
Okay, I rented a private room to listen to him sing for 2 hours.
Wasn't that a birthday party or something? I heard the story about that. It was probably at our last karaoke event.
It was Grant, myself, Antonio, my wife, and one of her best friends.
Okay, all right.
And I don't sing.
Nor do I.
There isn't enough alcohol on the planet.
And by that time, you can't understand what you're saying anyway.
That's right. Yeah. I have sang backup before on some country songs, but I'm never going to lead one.
Yeah.
And so basically, I rented this room, paid the, $70 or an hour or whatever it was.
Right.
And I watched Grant and
just perform for like 4 of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And Antonio jumped up about every 10th song and did one. So, yeah.
Grant just put on a show.
Oh, yeah. And he's
the actor.
He is. And
he turns it on.
He goes with the big songs, man. Like
belts it
Beauty
out there.
and the Beast.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, he did that at our year-end event for autocross.
It was epic.
Yeah, yeah.
It was pretty epic.
It's pretty amazing. He just does not care. Jumps up, does it, puts his heart and soul into it, like really acts it out. It's pretty impressive.
I wish I had that.
I kind of do too, but I just don't.
Yeah, and you know what that stems from?
No?
Oh God,
Psychology.
We could do a whole psychology of this, but
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I took a psychology class, and the instructor actually explained to me why that was. It's because you and your friends all made fun of each other doing book reports as a kid.
Sure.
And that's why you have
terrified
a hard time
you.
doing it. Yep.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. I'm good if I know what I'm talking about. I can stand up in front of people, talk to people, whatever I do. I have to stand up and give presentations in front of work and that kind of stuff. No problem. I can do that. But don't ask me to get up there and sing. I could get up and play guitar. I could get up and play drums. I'm there. I can do it. But singing? No. I'm out.
I took my wife a while back to some cabaret thing, and the guy on stage was doing all this juggling and party tricks type thing.
Sure.
I ended up on the dude's shoulders on stage.
Oh.
I will do stuff like that,
yeah.
But like talking in front of people, singing, I get stage fright and I can't do it.
Yeah. You know what I really admire is comedians.
Yeah.
On, live stage comedians, because that's awesome. They can get up there and just be funny, be themselves, tell stories, and they're confident. At least it seems like they are, right? So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Got to admire that talent.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I actually admire anybody that can get on stage and talk to more than, 50 or 100 people. I think it's definitely a learned skill. And,
Yeah, I think to a degree. Yeah.
like just thinking about having to talk to 30,000 people, it's intimidating,
Well, I mean, if you're going to put a number, 30,000, get up and sing a song you don't know in front of 30,000
Right.
people. That's the difference. If I know it and I know I can make it sound good, I could do it.
Yeah.
But it's the intimidation of not being, of failing, right?
Yeah.
Of not being good. Or, for karaoke, for instance, I won't do it because I don't feel like I know the songs well enough to perform.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that being said, the first time I actually went racing, I felt like that.
Let's get back into cars.
Yeah.
Or dirt or what kind of racing?
It was my first autocross.
Okay.
I was local here with BCA.
Mm-hmm.
I will give them a plug because, whatever.
Yep.
I did the Saturday class with an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Sunday, I came out and did my first race.
What'd you drive?
I had 2017 Subaru WRX base model.
Did you rent it?
Nope, it was mine.
Oh, okay.
I bought it.
Right.
Do we want to get into why I bought it?
Yes.
I bought it because I went and did the Dirtfish Rally School,
right.
half day.
Yeah.
And
you got hooked and you're like, I have to do this.
It was worse than cocaine. And
Not that we've ever tried it.
Totally loved it.
Yeah.
I have a friend up there that I actually got to sit in the car with and learn from, Michelle Miller. I will get her on the podcast at some point. She is freaking awesome. She's a professional co-driver and a professional rally instructor.
Love it.
And she's a hoot. So I got to learn from her. I got the bug. I went and bought a Subaru. Later that year, I went and did my first autocross, did the class and did the autocross. Had a blast doing it. First race out, our group of friends did a competition where whoever wins gets to pick the movie. And my first race out, I got to pick the movie.
Nice.
It was raining.
Oh, no shame in that game.
Subaru WRX.
Yeah. Front wheel drive.
No, all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive. 2-liter, small turbo.
Yep.
Bone stock, street tires, nothing special.
Perfect in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up 20th out of 84 people in my first race.
Yeah.
The only cars that could beat me were the Teslas and
other
all-wheel drive cars. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
So 2017?
2017.
So that's when you did the first race too, was also
No. It was a used car, so it was actually only... It's 2024 now. It would have been 22.
Okay. Only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So what happened to Subaru? Because I know you don't have it anymore.
I was lifting a 75-inch TV, 80-inch TV at my grandma's house and tore my distal bicep tendon.
Okay.
Had to have surgery. Couldn't drive a manual transmission. So I ended up selling it and buying that beautiful blue Tundra I had.
Oh, okay.
So I had a 2020 Tundra for a while.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved that truck, and no longer have it.
Right. Yep.
I go through cars fast.
Apparently.
God, we could go through all the cars I've had in my lifetime and which ones I like the most and which ones I like the least. Subaru is actually one of the ones on that list that I actually really liked. Tundra is probably up there on that list, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, I ended up with a 2018 Ford F-250.
Is it unfortunate though?
It is. I would give that truck back in a heartbeat.
that Ford's way more capable than the Tundra.
Oh, it is. It is. But it was unfortunate circumstances.
Sure.
So I would hand
For
that
the
back.
circumstances, you would take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, understood. All right.
I love the truck, though. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. That truck is everything that I want in a truck.
Yeah.
But there are things that I'd rather have.
Sure. Got it. I'm not going to pry on that one.
We'll talk offline.
Sure. No worries. So, all right. So that was your first autocross. Did you do more autocross that year?
I did. I ended up doing ORP.
Autocross ORP or
It
open
was
track ORP?
track
Oh.
track cross.
Okay. Set up by BCA.
Yes.
Okay.
I did that, and then I did 3 or 4 more with BCA that year.
Yeah.
Most of them in Portland.
Mm-hmm. For those unfamiliar, BCA is Bridge City Autocross, based in Portland.
Yeah, totally. If you guys are looking for seat time,
Great starter group.
yeah, if you're looking for seat time, that is a great place to go and get seat time. And
Yep.
if you think you're going to go get on a track first thing without seat time and be good,
Oh,
you are wrong.
yeah.
I
If
don't
you've never
care.
done it before.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
The more seat time you have, the better
Honestly,
you are going to be.
That is
behind the wheel.
hilarious about a lot of people that come out to autocross the first time because they're like, oh, I'm such a good driver, I can do so good, and it's really fun to watch them struggle and flail and push the car and out, overbreak themselves. And
So I raced with you guys once last year,
yeah,
and it was for the what do you call that? The relay race.
okay,
And Jim
mm-hmm.
was like panicking because one of the guys left, and he's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And Grant goes, Jeremy will drive. And I'm like, I heard my name. What? He's like, Jeremy will drive. And I'm like, yeah, I'll drive, whatever, dude. I don't care. And I'm like, what am I going to drive? Because I didn't have a car. I had my Tundra.
Right.
Grant's like, you can drive my car. I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little intimidated.
Yeah.
I've never driven that car.
Tell us what that car is.
It's a, God, what year Mustang is it?
It's 05, yeah.
05,
Yeah.
yeah. Beautiful red car. It is Grant's baby. I'm going to let him talk a little bit more about her because it is not stock. I will tell you the name is Liger. I think, is it Liger 1 or Liger 0? I think it's Liger 0.
Liger 0.
Yeah. It's his baby. He loves that car. I got in it. I loved every minute of being behind the wheel. And my son was with me, who is 22. He was 22 at the time. He's 23 now. Halfway through the first lap, spun out. Because
As could be predicted.
right, because year before that I was racing a all-wheel drive with
Yeah.
a lot less power, and I told everybody before I got behind the wheel, I'm like, I don't know this car.
Yeah.
I don't know this car. I am going to go out. I'm going to have as much fun as I can. And I spun the car out, and my son and I, Riley, died of laughter. And then I jammed it back in first gear after we got stopped, and I took off, and I didn't hit a single cone. I had an awful time, but I got across the line, and Bert comes running out, and he's like, woo, woo, in a Bert style,
Oh, yeah.
And I pull around, get out of the car, and he's like, that was awesome. And I'm like, I thought it sucked. And he's like, the spin out sucked, but here's a tip that, instead of letting your foot off the gas, sometimes you got to mash down on the gas to get the ass end of the car back down. And, that probably would have saved you. Also, after you got it stopped, you got it back in gear and got it. You didn't give up. And he goes, that was the coolest thing I've seen all day. And I'm like, okay, coming from Bert, that's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Bert's awesome. He's a cheerleader, man.
Oh, yeah.
He just wants to see people out there having fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool.
It was cool being on his team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was part of your relays. For those that don't know, we do a relay race 4 people on a team. You have a baton, so to speak. It's typically some kind of stuffed animal. I think that year it was a snake, like a 4-foot-long stuffed snake. Yeah?
I can't remember. I thought it was a bear.
Maybe
or
that was
something.
last year. Anyway, it varies. And so you have to pass this from one car to the next via a runner. So first person does their autocross lap. They come in, throw the snake to the runner. The runner runs it over to the start line, puts it in the next car, and then the next car goes. So you do that.
The
for 4
driver
cars.
is the only person in the vehicle that can touch the relay thing. So if somebody throws it in and it goes onto the floor at the feet of the passenger, the driver has to unbelt and get it and hand it to the next guy.
Yeah, if they can't reach it. Yeah.
So yeah,
there's some rules to it, but it's pretty fun. It's a really good time. A lot of laughs, a lot of people running back and forth and tired. It's a good time for sure.
Yeah.
So in 22, you raced like 4 or 5 times in the Subaru before giving that up?
Yeah, about
before getting
I think
hurt?
about 5 weekends.
Okay.
I had gone out.
Yeah, and then injured, and you didn't race again until
that race.
Until the last race with the Viper Club.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. So it's about time to get back in the car.
Yep.
Just got to find you the right car.
That's right.
All right. We've got plans.
We've got plans.
That's awesome.
And dream cars. You probably heard it in the last episode.
Dream cars. Those are a lot harder to come by. Usually the dream cars are a little bit out of reach.
But mine,
a stretch.
I usually am pretty realistic in my dreams.
I mean, yeah, Ford F-250 Highboy.
That's right.
I mean, it's a dream car.
And my car was a Corvette C5. So
yeah, that's true. That's attainable.
It is obtainable.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Even a base model, like the C5 base models handle really well.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Z06. You get a bigger motor in the Z06, but the bases handle really well.
I'm not going to lie either. I'd love to put down some times in my wife's car.
Yeah, that's an Infinity? Is that right?
Lexus RC350 F Sport.
Well, just bring it out.
All-wheel drive.
Bring that baby out.
Yeah.
The first couple events, we typically get rain. That's when you want to bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think the last 3 years, every year, our first event, we've gotten rain. It's been rough because the Corvette does not do well in the rain.
That one would be fun because it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It is fairly light, and it's got about 350 to the wheels.
That would do.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, especially the all-wheel drive part. That would be super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That car was like cheater mode when it snowed here this year.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even know there was a snow button in there.
Oh yeah.
It didn't slip a tire whether I was braking or like standing on it.
Traction control on the new vehicles is insanely good. I mean, even on my truck.
I don't think you can turn it off either.
Probably not. There might be a way you can disable a lot of it, but
Yeah.
some things still stay enabled.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, interesting. That would be pretty fun. She probably won't let you drive it though.
Probably not. And I wouldn't push it, because it's not my car. It is her car.
Yeah. Well, I guess if she doesn't know you have it.
What are you guys doing this weekend? Never mind.
Nothing. How come my tires are worn out? This is weird. So, all right. Previous to autocross, kind of racing background.
Oh man.
Because you tried the Dirtfish stuff, and that didn't take off for you.
I did Dirtfish, so I'm a little bit more worried about a car in that I would, if I was going to do rally or rally cross, I would definitely have a car dedicated to that.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't take your street car there and do that.
No. Well, and part of that is it's got to be a caged car.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't they have rally cross though? They have classes for stock cars without cages.
Rally cross.
I looked into it because I had some side by sides that we were going to do.
Yeah.
We thought about doing some rally cross, and it one reason or another it didn't work out. But I read through all the rules for all the cars and all the stuff, you know, because you kind of have to class yourself in that. So I do believe they have a basically uncaged class.
So rally cross is very similar to autocross.
Yes.
Basically logging roads out in a field, relatively safe,
Right.
one car on the track at a time type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Rally is a little different.
Yes.
So
for sure.
stage rally, have you ever been to a stage rally?
Nope.
God, we missed this year's too.
Yeah, it just happened last month.
Yeah, last month. So stage rally is really fun. A few years ago, somehow I scored media day passes for the Wednesday media day for the rally.
Yeah.
Oregon Trail Rally. And my stepson, my son, and I, it's all three of us? No, just Gage and I went down to Portland International Raceway and did the media day. And we got to meet Ken Block before he passed. And then both of us got to ride with drivers.
Nice.
And that was a hoot.
Yeah. I'll bet.
95 miles an hour in a early 2000s Subaru RS 2.5 or 2.5 RS, whatever they are. Mm-hmm. 95 miles an hour on a gravel road just before he slams on the brakes and takes a 90-degree right-hand corner.
Love it.
Was epic.
I'll bet. So where at PIR, where do they actually hold that? Is it around the perimeter? I know that there's some very large parking areas.
Yes.
So
it's interesting. Okay. So you park in the south paddock.
Okay.
All that parking lot area, and then out in the grass way out past the gate. The inner paddock, they set up for trailers, the cars, and the whole 9 yards. And then they basically start behind the motocross track.
Okay.
Depending on which direction they're going. And they've got 2 tracks there.
Does it
that
start
they set up
on the pavement? Because I know that the road course passes behind the motocross track, because the motocross track is in the center of the whole road course area.
They do 2 things.
Okay.
One, they use both tarmac and dirt.
Okay.
So part of it goes through the field behind the track.
Yep.
And then it comes onto the track through the chicanes all the way down the long straightaway, does that really sharp corner at the very end,
mm-hmm.
and comes back and then turns off the track between the grandstands and goes south on the dirt gravel road right there.
Okay.
And then it turns right and goes back towards like where the water's at.
Okay. Do you have any idea how long of a course they have?
I want to say that one. So they do 2 different tracks, and they're pretty close to like 2 miles.
Okay.
And then I think it's they flip it. So they drive it twice one way,
mm-hmm.
and they drive it twice the other way, or they drive it once one way and once the other way. I think it's one and one.
Okay.
And they're moving.
Oh yeah, those guys are no joke.
Yeah, they're moving.
Oh, that's cool that you got to experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you go then also on the race day, or you just do media day?
So I did media day.
Yep.
Then I went Friday for the first race.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. For those of you that haven't been to a rally, before the race, they do, God, I can't even remember what they're called. It's like a meet and greet. So expose. It's called an expose. So they line all of the cars up basically down a street, pointing towards each other.
So you're basically walking grid.
You walk grid.
Mm-hmm.
You meet all the drivers. Most of the drivers are out there by their cars. Most of the co-drivers are out there. I've met Travis Pastrana 2 years in a row. He was actually holding a bowl of pasta one year, and there was a family trying to get a picture with him, and he's like slurping down his food. And standing there next to him. I'm like, I'll hold that for you. And he looks at me and goes, fuck that. Oh, we got a good laugh out of it. And then he went back to his trailer and got ready for the race.
Yeah, right on. No, that's pretty fun. So how does that lead into your experience? Like,
so that was that experience. I did the Dirtfish Rally.
right.
I totally wanted to do that. I ended up deciding not to, just because and you know this, off-road stuff absolutely eats cars and motorcycles up.
Yep.
Completely. My start into vehicles was actually motorcycles.
I think that's a pretty common theme for, for age of entry
Yeah.
into your motorized career. It's either go-karts or dirt bikes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did that. I had a CR80 that my dad bought me when I was way too small.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say too young because I think I was old enough. I just think it was too big of a bike for me at first.
You'll grow into it. It'll be fine.
And I did.
Yeah.
I grew into it, and then I outgrew it.
Yeah,
Ended up, my best friend at the time would ride that, and I would ride his 250R 4-tracks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my introduction into cars, or into vehicles. And then my love for racing came later.
Dirt bike wasn't enough to get you hooked?
Well, it got me hooked, but it didn't get me into racing.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a parent that was willing to
Time commitment.
commit the time, one, and two, the money.
Right.
Because it's not, you know this.
Motorsports are not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Even at that level, even at the amateur dirt bike level, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're probably every 2 years at a minimum buying a new bike.
At a minimum, yeah. And then, the upkeep in between is no joke.
Right.
And while it is probably go-karting and dirt bikes are probably the cheapest motorsport you can do, it's still not cheap.
Yep.
Especially, well, I don't know. Back then, it's all relative, right? Income to experience, it's all relative.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're right. It's expensive.
Anything that you get behind the wheel of, and I don't care what it is, 2 wheels or 4, you might as well just throw dollar bills at it.
Oh,
right?
100%.
The faster you want it to go, the more money you put into it.
Yes.
And it $100
that has not changed.
$100 doesn't equal a horsepower.
No, it doesn't.
$100 or $10,000 could equal a horsepower.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And
it depends on obviously what vehicle you're throwing it at, but
right.
you know, the faster you get, the more expensive tenths of a second are.
Yeah.
And that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give my first piece of advice to people that want to get into racing.
Expect to spend a lot of money.
Expect to spend a lot of money.
Yep.
1, 2. When you go into something and decide that you want to build horsepower because you want to go faster, make sure the fucking car will stop first.
It's a good place to start.
Right? Make sure your car can stop. Make sure your car can handle before you ever decide to put more power into it. That's 2. The third one that I would do before I ever put more power in is get some seat time. Because if you don't get seat time and learn that car, you're never actually going to be able to drive it. And it doesn't matter how many parts you put into it.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, most cars for learning are fast enough the way they are. You need to be able to drive it. You need to be able to handle the car and stop the car.
Mm-hmm.
Most important things.
Oh, yeah.
And learn what you have before you go dumping money into it. Take it out and drive it just the way it is and realize that, oh, this thing doesn't stop very good. Or it doesn't want to turn when I turn the wheel. Why?
Yeah.
So figure those things out. You will shave all kinds of time off just by fixing those issues first.
Your car will either do more or do less than you expect.
Typically, I'm going to guess it does less, depending on, that's not for everybody. It depends on what car you start with.
Now, wait a minute. If it's a new driver, that car is going to do more than they think it will.
Yeah.
If it's a driver like you that's more seasoned, and you jump from, your Corvette into a Subaru WRX,
yeah, I'm gonna want
it's going to do way less than you would hope, right?
True. Yeah.
So, like me, when I jumped into Grant's car, it did way more than I thought it was going to.
No, that's a good perspective. Yeah.
So, and I've always been a proponent of you grow into your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle doesn't grow into you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
people that
that's
I've
only
talked
partially
to,
true.
new autocrossers, new racers and whatnot, they have this car, they want to get into it, they're all excited and jacked up, and yeah, most of them are like, well, no, I want to fix this, I want to do this to it and do that to it first. I'm like, no, just bring it out and drive it, learn what the car will do before you start pumping money into it. I mean, I appreciate that you want to fix it up, it's a project cars, I get that, and I love that. But learn it first.
That's right.
Get out there and drive it. Have some fun with it first, and be like, okay, this is where I need to focus.
Well, you're going to put wear and tear on it anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. Break it and then fix it. Upgrade it once you break it.
Don't change the tires. Don't change the suspension. Don't change the brakes. Don't change anything on the motor. Just fucking go drive it.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, the first things you're going to replace are brakes and tires. Because dollar for donuts, that's where you're going to get your most
bang for your
buck.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, your seat matters.
Your seat belts matter.
Your seat belts and the seat, like being held in place.
It's a big deal. It's really funny.
Big deal.
It's really funny because if you can't stay in your seat, you're fighting everything in the cockpit, just trying to stay in the seat. No, that's hilarious.
Uh-huh.
It's very true though. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I notice a harness makes a big difference if you cinch yourself in and you're not worried about sliding around in the seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's true. That is a good point. Yep.
So that's part of it, right? And then if we go back, right, motorcycles.
I was going to say we kind of departed
I know
where
we
it
did.
started, but yeah.
So motorcycles are like where I started. I didn't really get into racing. Like, I've always loved watching racing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as getting behind the wheel, that's not my first
You
love.
didn't have the itch, like when you were on an 80, a dirt bike, as a kid, you didn't have the itch to go race against somebody else?
Oh, my buddy and I would be on the pipeline, and we'd race each other all the time.
Okay.
We'd see how fast
you didn't want to go
would
line up, against a gate full of other guys?
No, and the reason was I was realistic, right?
Oh.
I could ride my dirt bike. I was okay at it. But, like, when we'd go out to the pipeline or the power lines or wherever we were riding for the weekend, there were dudes out there that, like, they were legit.
Yeah.
Right? And
they're probably a lot older than you, too.
They were probably a couple years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
At least the kids on the 80s. But they were, like, they had somebody that was training them, and for one, and for two, they actually like knew how to handle the bike, where later on I knew how to handle the bike, but it wasn't because somebody was like, hey, try this, hey, try that.
It was just practice.
It was
just riding.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Went out and like, if I lean like this, the bike does something different,
Sure.
I didn't have somebody to actually teach me how to do it.
Well, that doesn't change a kid's itch or desire or, big eyes. Like maybe back in the day, it was a little harder to find that stuff on TV, but if you saw it on TV, you're like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my God, the bike will do that.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, that doesn't change you daydreaming about going out. And racing
No, I
bikes.
daydreamed about it.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I wanted to be that kid on the bike.
Okay.
I wanted to that's what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Yeah.
And then as I started getting older, I was like, I kind of like the trophy trucks. I'd really like to do that, and my dad took me to a few Mickey Thompson off-road races at the Tacoma Dome. Mm-hmm. No, King Dome, when the King Dome was still around.
Gotcha.
And I got to meet a couple of my heroes. Well, a couple of guys that became my heroes.
Sure.
And got to sit in one of their trucks. And that that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what really hooked you.
that is what hooked me. Getting to sit in Robbie Gordon's Toyota pickup.
Yeah. Trophy truck.
Trophy truck.
Right.
Oh my God. That was it. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. So that's what really got you. It wasn't. Yeah. That's funny to think about because I have a dirt bike background and that was my passion. Right. But not everybody has that. Like you enjoyed riding dirt bikes and stuff, but it didn't really spark it for you. But when you saw the trucks, that was your spark.
That
You're
was
like,
my spark.
Hell yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's
really
and watching that and the 4-wheelers and the tough trucks and all
Yep.
that stuff at the Mickey Thompson's, man, that was it. That's what I wanted to do.
Did you ever try to pursue that in any fashion?
No, I mean, kinda. I think we talked about this in one of our shows, our first vehicles.
Yeah, I think it got deleted.
Is that the one that?
Pretty
son
sure.
of a bitch.
Pretty sure we lost that.
So my first vehicle was a '83 Ford Ranger,
right.
and I hunted
Okay.
and fished,
Sure.
and that
yeah,
kind of
it is
stuff.
a
So
useful vehicle. For
yeah,
you.
so it was 2-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I got that, I still had that CR80 that I had, and I ended up getting rid of the 80. I bought a Yamaha Blaster, I think, when I graduated high school, and I had a buddy's 4-wheeler in the back of that, and we were out tooling around one day, and I say tooling around, we were fucking off.
Yeah.
And I jumped that truck down in the on the river flat, and I was going between these two trees, and there was like a mud puddle area that had washed out part of the road.
Yeah.
And I hit that and hit the other side of it, and the truck came up off the ground about 3 feet with the 4-wheeler in the back of it. And my buddy comes running down the hill, and he stops me. He's like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life." You were like 3 feet off the ground. I'm like, yeah, it felt like it. And that truck, because of the balance, like, it came out of that hole just perfect and landed on all 4 tires. And
you got
it was
lucky.
a perfect landing.
You got really lucky.
I did.
So did the quad come out, or was it?
No. It was
tied
strapped.
in?
It was strapped in.
Yeah.
It was strapped in with 2 straps. It didn't even move.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
But, it was stuff like that. Yeah. And then like logging roads and stuff like that. They say 25.
Yeah, you were just bombing.
Oh,
sliding
bombing
around the
down
corners,
that thing. Just
playing Mickey
drifting every
Thompson.
corner I could,
Yeah.
Come out of the corners, just spraying rock all over the place.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Couldn't find your way onto the pro circuit with it though.
No.
Yeah, that's
And
a
then-
tough road to get into. I don't even know how a guy like that. How does a guy get into off-road truck racing? I mean, the cost of entry must be
Oh, God.
astronomical.
So
Like,
an entry-level truck nowadays?
well, even back then.
Yeah.
What was it back then?
Oh, God.
50 grand? More? 100 grand for
Probably.
a truck back then?
Maybe.
I mean, for a full-blown one, but maybe an amateur level truck.
Yeah, so
What does
it
that
depends
cost?
on what class you're getting into.
Sure.
And, I'll have to do a little bit of research and figure out what classes they have now. But, like, if you wanted to go do the Baja 1000 or something like that,
Yeah.
they've got everything from motorcycles all the way through vehicles, right? And, like, Volkswagen Bugs that have the non-independent front suspension, like I can't even remember what it was, but
Some kind of torsion bar.
they have a
wasn't it?
torsion bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a torsion bar. They have a class that's just for those,
That would be brutal.
right?
That would beat you up so bad.
Oh,
but I
God.
imagine people finish it in those things.
They do.
That's crazy.
And then they go all the way from that through like a Baja buggy, 4-wheel drive
Classes
buggies,
for absolutely everything.
mini trucks, the 7,000 class, and then the trophy trucks, which are the pretty much unlimited full size.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Big stuff. We should take a quick break, real quick, a save maybe,
Yep.
and we'll be back in just a minute. Back from break. Not that the listener knows that, because it was probably a half a second delay.
Seamless
And
recording.
we're back.
And we're back. We found Grant.
Hello! It's really hard to lose me.
Whoa.
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 Well, what?
Volume.
Easy on the
I'm
ears, buddy.
excited, okay?
We want this listener to stay.
Yeah. Just blew the speaker out of his,
They need to hear me when they're working in the back of the
Oh,
car.
70, his
they heard
78
you.
Pinto.
It's funny because when I'm out with Jeremy, he'll be like, I can instantly find you. I'm like, how can I? He's like, the volume.
You can't hear yourself?
No.
Hey, listener, what's your project?
Yeah, we need to know.
We need to know.
Yep.
We want to hear from you. Email us, untitledcarproject@gmail.com.
Or hit us on the Insta spams.
Insta spams at Untitled Car Project. You can message us there. Send us some photos.
We check
Send
our
us
DMs daily.
a description of your untitled project or your titled project. Shoot, I don't care. Happy to talk about it. Let's hear about it. Let's see it. Let's know what you're up to.
You want to hear a fun story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Growing up, my dad always had boats. My real dad always had a ski boat.
A
ski boat.
Okay.
In the garage every year. It wasn't always the same boat. And here's the cool thing. He would pick one up as soon as the weather went inclement. So as soon as the rain started and the snow or whatever, right?
Optimal time
As
to
soon
buy
as
a
the first
boat.
leaf fell on the ground.
He would buy a boat that needed work. He would do the work to it. And about midway through the ski season, he would dump the boat.
Really?
Yes. And now you're not going to make a whole bunch of money doing that, but the boats he was picking them up for like $500 to $1,000 and dumping them for like $3 after putting like $500 to $800 into them.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much did you put into it?
Yeah, not a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And the last one he bought was this beautiful orange, like burnt orange with metal flake in it. Gorgeous boat. And the guy that built it originally built it for barefoot skiing. So the boat would only go 45 miles an hour, but it would get there now. That boat was fun.
So is that the kind of, is it like one of those really low to the water, big motor?
Not like a jet boat or a drag boat. Not like the ones that are basically sitting in the water and it's waiting for the little wave to jump the side at you.
Yeah.
You know, do probably 140 miles an hour on the water, but no, not that kind of boat. Little higher profile, still pretty low profile. No front windscreen.
Was your dad still traditional, like keeping a single engine, or did he go like dual motors or all over the place?
Single motor. No, not. Keep it closer. You weren't looking at it.
Okay.
Single motor. This one in particular was an inboard. I think it had a Ford 351 in it. Ooh, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a big motor.
That's a lot of motor.
Yeah, it was a lot of motor, and the way it was set up with the prop and the pitch on it and all that stuff, it would ramp up the speed really quick. And the whole reason was
only go 45 with a 351 in it.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm telling you, when you hit that throttle, it was there.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it just seems like that much motor you could really.
Oh, I
don't know jack about boats.
If he'd have tuned put a different prop on it,
is that what it is?
If he'd have put a different prop on it and tuned it a little different, it would have been. God, it probably would have done 80, 90 miles an hour on the water.
Yeah, but with a wake boat, a ski boat, the biggest thing is the wake, not the speed. That's the biggest thing that matters.
Yeah.
Wait, what kind of boat?
He's not talking about a wake boat.
Oh yeah, he says ski boat.
Ski boats don't give a big wake. Wakeboarding boats give a big wake, and that's so they can do tricks and stuff like that.
Do you not want to have a big wake for a ski boat?
Not necessarily. No, when you're doing slalom water skiing, you want a fairly small wake because you have to go across it really fast.
Okay.
Whereas when you're doing wakeboarding, you're actually trying to like flip and do jumps.
Yeah, you're trying to clear that wake.
Yeah.
So I remember with us, we always did wakeboarding, so you'd have just fat sacks just filling that boat to the maximum capacity.
Probably had a 100-gallon or 150-gallon ballast in the back to weigh the back of that boat down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this boat was not that. This one you could slalom ski behind it. You're not doing it at 45 miles an hour. Probably closer to 21. 18, but you're moving coming across the wake. So they want them pretty small.
It's crazy. It's crazy how fast you can get stuff moving across the water, picking up speed because there's the lack of friction.
Oh yeah.
Like we were talking, I think you and me were talking about this last year. So my family's got a pair of jet skis, Wave Runners, and the one that we got is a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder in it, but it's supercharged. It only makes 250 horses. So versus cars or trucks, that's not a lot of horses. But when you have something that weighs like 800 pounds, it moves. It'll do 0 to 60 sub 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. God, we're about to go down a rabbit hole.
Oh
Yeah, I think we already. Yeah. We are entering the hole.
So here's another type of racing that I could really get behind and get behind the wheel of. Offshore racing.
God, no.
What's offshore racing?
It is. Do you know what a cigarette boat is?
Isn't that the drug runner?
Yes.
Giant
That's where they
power
stemmed,
boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually they're like 36 to 41 foot, multi-powered, depending on what class they're in or whatever. They can have anywhere from 2 motors to 4 or 5 or something like that. Usually the inboards are like 2 or 3, depending on what class and all that stuff, right? I've seen a couple of them that had helicopter motors.
Ooh.
Yeah, helicopter turbines, diesel turbines. I've seen some with absolutely insane, like 550 horse or 550 cubic inch, big block Chevys. Depending on how they build them, right? You know what the biggest factor in that moving fast is?
Aerodynamics. Well, hydrodynamics.
Hydrodynamics. So, some of those boats, or actually the boat that I think got the world record, they drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom.
I could believe that.
And the reason they did it wasn't to lighten the boat up. They drilled the holes in the bottom to do the same thing that
Golf balls do.
Golf balls and torpedoes. So
torpedoes have holes in them?
No, but they make the front of them concaved now, like a parabola. And the reason they do that is as soon as they get into the water, it creates an air bubble around the front. And that air bubble reduces the friction so it can go through the water faster. So it's kind of the same theory. They're trying to get that water to create an air bubble or an air ride that it's sitting on so that it will glide across the water faster.
So the water cuts through the air bubble instead of the actual torpedo itself.
I hope you're not cutting through a torpedo. Yes, the torpedo is cutting through the water, creating an air bubble, making the water friction less.
Do you know how you make anything go faster though? A boat, a torpedo, anything?
More power.
More power?
No.
You can't tell me more power doesn't do that.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I can. The number one thing that will make anything go fast, no matter what, is you paint it red.
And more power.
And more power.
Okay.
All right, and that was the show. Thanks, guys.
Oh, man. You went from one rabbit hole to the next.
I know.
All right. Actually, where we left off
Yeah.
was... What?
Where do we leave off?
Yes.
Grant wasn't here,
I just jumped in.
I know.
Yeah.
both feet.
Back to trophy trucks.
Yes.
That's where we were. Talking about Jeremy's
My love
want
for the
for
dirt.
trophy trucks. Yep.
That is what got me into it, though. This is trophy trucks, and one of these days, I am going to go watch the Mint 400.
I thought you were going to say you were going to drive it.
The Baja 1000. I would love to drive it. This
Jeremy.
This is another thing that we were talking about, right? Listener, if you are willing to sponsor us, I will drive the Mint 400. And this is one of the things I was talking about, right? I was looking into like buying a chassis and building a motor for it and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
You can get a roller for about $100,000.
Really?
Yes.
Hmm.
You're probably not going to have a power plant.
No, likely
And
not.
You're not going to have seat belts, seats.
Be lucky to have
Why would
suspension.
a roller be
Yeah.
$100,000? You're talking just the frame and the wheels. You're not talking suspension.
Well,
I'm talking about body.
It might have a suspension.
Depends on how
But it's-
old of a rig you buy. If you buy
Right.
somebody's,
So, and I'm not talking
Throwaway.
about a piece of shit throwaway.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you get a brand new chassis that you can build. You're probably looking at $100,000. For one that's got a motor and it's fully set up, you're probably $150,000.
oh, I would say more
No,
than
I'd
that.
say like
I'd say
300
250.
if you're already 100.
Depends on what you're looking at, right? If you're looking
at
at
something that's going to win.
no, $150,000 is not going to be a winning truck.
Yeah, that's why I said 300.
You're probably the winning teams probably have it's a $500,000 package. It's truck, it's parts, it's the not including your chase rigs, not including your tow
I think
rigs.
500,000 is low if you're including
Yes.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're including all that stuff, you're looking at a million dollar team.
Easily.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's just for
Once you
one
start hitting
race.
$1 million, that's when tires and fuel they go out the window.
Yeah. So, that being said, BF Goodrich does something really cool. For X amount of money, they will prep tires at specific stops for you and fuel. And for enough money, they will actually have mechanics ready to go.
Oh, you
And
can buy anything you want.
that's
So
right.
You want to qualify it with enough money.
Yeah.
Enough money and
Yeah.
time.
But and the big teams that go out there to win, they have that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. You're looking like BJ Baldwin, Robbie Gordon, those guys, they have the big teams, right? But if you're just a guy and you want to get into racing and get into that, you're not going to go with the trophy truck your first race out, right? You're probably going to go with some Class C or Class 7 buggy or something like that. Something 2-wheel drive, probably got a Subaru motor on it.
It depends how determined you are.
Well, yeah, it does.
And how much financial backing you have.
That's right.
But yeah, the homegrown guy doesn't go out there with a $300,000 truck.
But
and
that's
no backing.
That's why they have that Volkswagen Bug class with the what do we call it, a torsion front end?
Yeah.
You
Encyclopedia would know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Encyclopedia Grant.
Yep.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
I can picture it.
original.
Well, because if you got
it's a torsion bar
if
front end on some of the original early bugs, right?
No, I really doubt that.
Oh, I can picture
I
it.
feel like that'd be way more expensive than springs.
No, they weren't springs. The spring was actually a torsion bar.
I thought
So
it
I
was
don't
a-
remember if it's welded on or bolted on, but there's like a drag link that comes off of the
We're
bar
talking
on
like
the front.
40s bugs, right?
50s, 60s. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll look it up.
I'm
We'll
gonna-
look it up. We'll see if we
Yeah,
can
we
find a
got the
picture of
magic
it.
I'm gonna have
Google
to
box
Google it
somewhere,
right
but
now.
that's okay. I would move on from that.
Yeah. So the amount of money you're going to put into it, depending on what you want, is
Oh yeah, that's any kind of racing.
And-
That's from dirt bike racing to buggy racing to go-kart racing, on up to shoot, dirt track, stock car, anything, drag racing. There's levels for everybody out there. You can take your stock literally out of mom's garage car down there and drag race her Impala if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, and listeners, we will get into this at a different point. We're going to have a segment called I don't know what we're going to call it, but we're going to talk about how to get into different styles of racing. At some point, we will probably tell you this is exactly what you need to do if you want to get into autocross. This is what you need to do if you want to get into motocross.
Yeah, we can do that. I think we've got enough. We'll find somebody smart enough to tell you
Yeah.
instead of shooting from the hip. But, we've got experience. Autocross is simple. You take your car, go to the autocross, drive it.
That's right.
That's how
Well,
easy that is.
sign up. sign up. I totally recommend going out and doing a class first, but like sign up for it and get seat time. Seat time is the number one most important thing in
Yeah,
any
even
type
if
of
you
racing.
don't sign up for a class, there are so many people there
Oh,
that
yeah.
will give you pointers, and some of them are good and some of them are not. So, choose wisely.
You found it?
I found it.
All right, what do you
It's
got?
a very interesting. So that they do have torsions, but it's how would you describe that?
It's a torsion bar with a drag link.
Yeah.
But the torsion bars don't go in line with the car; they go horizontally.
Yeah, it goes across the front,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it's got drag links.
So when you say a torsion bar, like I think of it like on a truck where they go parallel with the body,
yeah,
Oh,
no,
no.
not
run
that.
down. Yeah.
Not
So
like
it's-
the Toyota, the what, 86, 80, 86 to 89 Toyota pickup had that
run to the
torsion front end
Chevys.
on their IFS systems.
Yeah.
No, this is like there's a bar across the front, and it literally is a torsion bar that holds two drag links that connect to the front end
So
somehow.
this one it goes on the Volkswagen. It's actually kind of looks like an H, and the middle of the H is two torsion bars.
Mm-hmm.
So you got front and lower.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. But it's also weird because when you type in for suspension, everyone I guess replaces them with springs.
IFS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very surprised on that one.
Which, if you went with an IFS system on the dirt and you're doing some sort of Baja, would be way easier on you.
Yeah.
But, it's not cheap to do.
Racing's not cheap. I don't care.
Yeah, oh,
Where
yeah.
you're
I
at.
would agree with that. I'll reach to the kitchen.
Give me a beer while you're up.
Yeah.
So I want to change direction a little bit, especially now that Grant's here. I want you to tell me about the 67 Volkswagen bus you were working on.
Ooh. So, part of my family, even though we like Ferraris and stuff, another section of my family really likes Volkswagen and Audis. On my uncle's side, he grew up with Volkswagens and Beetles and stuff, but loved the buses, had one back in the day, and eventually got rid of one. But back when his kids got old enough, they're like, oh, we missed the bus. Wish you had a bus. So he bought a 70s Volkswagen bus. Thought that was cool, blue, and drove around. And this was probably like 15 years ago. Well, my cousin became really successful. He's like, I want a bus too, but Dad's got the 70s bus. So he saved up and he got himself a 67 bus.
Oof.
And he says he used to drive all around Arizona, so that was the coolest thing, because he'd just throw a speaker in the back and just play, what's the music called? 420. What's that kind of
Ska, reggae.
Yeah, reggae and ska. So he'd be driving by and people would just love it. They'd see this bus with all the windows going through.
Yeah. Is that the bus that I saw the picture of?
That was the bus.
It's a nice bus.
It is.
That's
very
cool.
nice. Well, that's the thing. Me and my uncle were talking about it. So, well, it's the bus is very nice from the outside, and my cousin had it restored by a very well-known bus restorer because one of his buddies knows this all the time. But wrenching on the thing and getting underneath it, I was like, the paint's nice, the interior's nice, but it's not a nice bus.
Gotcha.
It's the bottom. It mechanically sound, as someone who's worked on a lot of projects, like none of mine are done, but I take a lot of pride in making sure they're back to factory, really well spec'd. There was a few things like he didn't even notice, for example, his exhaust was cut for the heat exchangers. And he's like, what? Oh, because I guess it never came with a heater. I'm like, everything in here for plumbing gives you heat. It's just not connected 4 inches of pipe. And then you would have just the bottom would be painted, but there'd be some spots where rust had eaten away and made little holes on some spots in there. Or the body of the door, instead of concurving to the actual body of the frame, the door will stick out like 90 degrees at some sections. So it was done nice, but
But not right.
It was not done right.
Yeah.
As well as, so getting under that thing, what I was tasked for was my uncle. So the bus was brought from Arizona back to Oregon probably like 3 years ago. And my cousin's currently working out of town. And so they tasked me to switch out the starter. Because not a lot of people nowadays will work on older equipment and older vehicles. So they asked me, hey, would you want to do this? It seems like it'd be something simple. And I'm like, yeah, I could work on that. You know, it's a starter, 2-bolt, 2-wire. Why not? Should be easy. Last famous words.
Yeah.
So working on the bus was not too bad. Had the game plan going in there, looked underneath, didn't put the bus on jacks because it's very tight under there, but if it's jacked up, you would not be able to reach your arms far enough. So reaching for the bottom bolts, getting everything undone, great. But the top bolt was near impossible. The biggest problem about feeling that is, I don't know if this is a mechanic trait I have or if it's common mechanic thing. I don't think so. So one of the skills I have as a mechanic is I can see with my hands fairly effectively.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's like an uncommon skill. It's nice to have, but failing up for that top bolt, like it was kind of like it was putting a weird image in my head because you could feel the bolt there, but it didn't have like a hex on it, and I couldn't figure what was going on up there. And eventually, I had to pull out the old phone and Google and just see. Okay, I'm like, there's got to be a trick or thing. Why can't none of my wrenches sockets fit on it? Because I can't see it. It was too far up there. Find out that the bolt is actually shaped with no hex. You can hit it that way. And found out there was a nut on the inside of the engine bay you had to get to.
Comes off the other side.
Comes out the other side.
Oh, wow.
So it took from a 2-hour job down to, 30 minutes, 15 minutes once I figured out, okay, this is going through.
Mm-hmm.
And after removing the starter, brings up kind of the quality of the bus. My cousin's like, oh, yeah, it must have been replaced when it was done. And, just been on ever since. I'm like, this was an original 60s starter. This was not, covered and greased and everything else. I'm like, and just dried grease. And I'm like, this is St. Patina. This is original Bosch starter now. This is, again, nice body, but mechanically it could have been better.
Did you hit that with a bunch of brake cleaner before you took it off?
No, I just took it off and sent it back. I put a new one in. Why?
I would have hit it with degreaser first of some sort, and then on those bolts. So I grew up working on old stuff, right?
Yeah.
I would have sprayed all those bolts with some sort of I don't even know what to call it, like penetrating lube of some sort to just get them to free up a little bit.
Oh, they were super easy to get off.
Yeah?
Yeah, there was no problem with that. Because the biggest thing was the bolt that was the nut for the upper bolt was in the engine bay. So that was clean and avoided rust because it didn't have any road debris on it. The bottom one was super easy to get to and, didn't take, nearly anything to get off. But the entire body was just covered with just grind. Like it wasn't even wet. It was just dry years of it, So that was really nice getting it off easy. Starting it was interesting though, because I got it started once. Older vehicle, I'm not used to a carburetor, pumping it, trying to get it not to flood and going through. I got it fired once, but I couldn't after that because I wanted to make sure it'd start. But
how long has it been since it ran?
Probably 3-4 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been started and ran a little bit, but it's not like my old man's cars that sit for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about that bus though. What kind of model? I noticed it had the front windows, and maybe this is a common VW bus thing. I don't know, but they have the latch at the bottom to where they'll flip out.
Yeah. I don't know too much about buses. His is a, I think the rare ones are the 29 or 21 window buses, the rare ones. His is a 19 window, I think. It's whatever the rare one is, minus
a couple.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of windows in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But the ones that are the 29 or 21 window one, the one that have all the windows, let's go for stupid money.
Yeah.
I'm talking like
60, 70 grand.
I'm talking like 400 grand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. No, buses get stupid expensive. My cousin thinks his bus is, about 60 or 70 where that one sits. But that one could be done better, in my personal opinion. I think it was fully restored, maybe 100 plus.
So you're telling me the one that was up the street for $3 grand that didn't run, we really missed out on that one?
I'm not joking. Those, Because my cousin would tell me his buddy who gets buses, he'll find buses that are, really beat up, like the ones you would think would be $1,000, whatnot. Bring them to shop or store them, and when they're done and done right, they sell for a good amount of money. Even, as long as the body looks good and the interior looks good and they drive decent, people will pay for, loads for it.
That's kind of crazy.
It's also nuts.
I know that's a whole nother culture, a whole
Yeah.
restoration thing, those buses. I mean, they're awesome. I don't know anything about them, but yeah.
I've ridden my cousin.
There's a whole car culture just based around that.
There's a whole bunch of different car cultures, and I don't know if you guys are as into that as I am, but like there's some car cultures that I want to go hang out with. Strictly because they're totally different than what we're used to, right?
Sure.
Except for underground street racing, I'm not part of that.
I would go check it out. I wouldn't probably do the ride-alongs or anything like that, but I would go watch.
I don't know. I can't support those groups that like go downtown and will shut down pure roads.
Yeah,
or like
I'm with you, Grant. I can't do it.
Depends. How are they doing it though?
They will literally stop in front of the road.
Are they stopping traffic, or are they finding?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not totally into that,
Like-
but if
like,
they
think
were
about this. We had-
blocking an unused road,
Yeah. Well, think about
are they
this.
hurting anything?
We had 4 years ago, we had a group of Californians block 205 bridge, and then had probably 100 people on there, and then filmed it while they were doing donuts, all sorts of burnouts and all sorts of things, and just block major highway traffic.
Yeah, see, that's not okay.
No, that's not okay.
But if they're finding some back road somewhere and they block it for a minute so that some people can race,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I'm not down with it.
I don't know.
There's too many ways to do it legally. They don't need to do that shit.
that's true.
Yeah.
And you
as
can
many
you can
people
legally block a road.
as many not for that.
Not that way. You have to get permits.
Yes.
And as many people that get injured and killed, and they're just being complete idiots and giving basically car culture a bad name.
Yeah, that's
I'm not down with it.
Like, that'll be another episode we do. I've got a lot of like unspoken rules about like driving in the countryside.
It's not an unspoken rule. If you say
No,
so.
that's called the law.
Yeah.
That's called rules of the road.
But there's there's nothing wrong with having spirited driving in backcountry. Once you get to populated areas, that's where I'm like, okay, this is not okay. If you start going 100 miles an hour in a school zone during the day, or weaving through downtown traffic where it's side by side and you're just clearing them because like, oh, I'm getting an adrenaline rush. Or if you're the kind of person where it's like, well, there's an accident up ahead, but I'm going to pull in the left lane, speed past everyone, and keep going and just flip off everyone as I go. No, I'm not about that. But if you're the kind of person who's like, it's, a weekend, or it's 10 o'clock at night, we're up in the mountains, there's no one around, there's, you're with someone, and as soon as you see any kind of traffic, you slow down and you give them, the right of way, and you're not leaving your lanes. Like, there's that, I think, is where the law, and having fun can be conjoined. But we could do a whole nother episode, and I could rant, for hours about that.
Yeah, let's go back to different cultures.
Yes.
So one of the cultures I really want to like go hang out with for a day is the lowrider culture.
That would be fun.
And
What kind of lowrider are we looking at?
I'm talking
Like Impalas? You talking the
spoked wheeled Impalas,
Okay.
Bel Airs.
hydraulics,
Okay.
the whole thing.
Are they still doing hydraulics? I thought that was phased out.
Some of them,
Still a
yes.
thing.
Well, I thought that was phased out completely with air ride suspension and air now.
Some there still are cars with hydraulics
Instead of
because
air.
there's hydraulic competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like that I know about like the bouncing, the jumping, and stuff like that. But I've thought for sure that because this is back in like the 2010s.
Some of them
2009s.
do airbags, some of them do hydraulics.
Well, I mean, it may not even be considered airbags, but there was a suspension thing that was what hydraulics would do in the same distance hydraulics would do, but in an air way. And the reason people were switching that was, to run lines, batteries, motors, it would reduce the weight by like a third. So again, us discovering that culture, because it'd be interesting to see what people have gone. What was the old? What was the new?
Do we have that culture here?
I don't think so.
Man, I don't know.
I mean, we
We-
have
if-
to have
if-
some, right?
We have hot
Probably. I
rods,
was going
but
to say if we have it,
low
it's
riders.
probably pretty small.
Yeah. It's probably about the size of the Brony collection right now.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to check it out.
Interesting.
We'll have to
Yeah.
check it out because I mean, that is one culture I would love to go check out, right?
Yeah.
And I want to meet the people. I want to see the cars. I want to ride in the cars. You know.
I want to hear about the builds because honestly, there's some interesting. I mean, I don't want to call it backyard mechanic, but a lot of it is backyard
for
mechanic.
sure.
I mean, it's not something you take to a shop and say, "This is what I want. I want you to put hydraulics in this thing, and I want to be able to bounce it 8 feet off the ground."
Well, just think of this: the chassis you had to build for that thing.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
control arms are got to be insane just to take the beating.
the
they
beating. Yeah,
Do, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd
pretty
have to
interesting.
box in
Yeah, the
your
mechanics-
frames.
the mechanics of it are pretty intriguing.
But not
to
just
me.
that, you build them, they're beefier, but then you have them where they're slammed to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already really low. So you've got to take really thick, heavy material or structured materials because that have to be lighter because they have to be able to bounce and jump. But at the same time, be in a package that's sleek enough where you can have them super tiny.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
impressive. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where they learn that skill. Where does that come from? Backyard
Yeah.
engineering.
We'll have to find a builder.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, look into that.
I might know a guy.
You're looking
I'll
at
ask
me like I
around.
might know.
You might have met the guy.
I might have.
You might have.
Am I that guy?
Did you meet the paint guy
Am
on
I
the
that
last
guy?
show?
I did not meet the paint guy.
Okay.
You've talked about him several times.
I'll get them back on.
Right on.
There's a shop in Hillsboro. We had the paint guy and the shop owner come on, and they do a lot of old builds. Like they're one of the only shops around willing to touch like 70s, 60s, 50s cars.
Do you know the name of
Really?
the shop?
I know
I
a few shops that will touch.
Don't
those.
remember
Yeah,
the
I
name
know
of it
of a
off
few.
Yeah.
off the top of my head,
It's-
but
It's interesting because there's people that will touch 56 cars if they're American.
yeah.
Imports, I don't know anyone in town who will if they're like really old cars.
I don't know about the really old stuff. There's I don't know, 3 import builders I can think of in town, just off the top of my head. So I'm sure there's more than that.
Like from the 60s, they'll touch.
That I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. Like if you're talking like
I mean,
say
how many imports do you have from the 60s?
I've got 2 that are from the late 70s or early 70s. If we're talking older than that,
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty rare stuff.
I mean, I've got is AC. I guess is British, but it's technically a Shelby, so that's American. I mean, you know what? There is a guy in North Plains. Actually, I couldn't name that shop. There is a guy out there who specializes in MGs and old British cars. So
Okay,
we do
but-
have one at least in town.
Yeah. Technically, yes, imported. My import.
He's
brain
thinking
went to
Japanese, right?
JDM
Yeah.
Well,
stuff.
no, I'm talking like European. and
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Different imports.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Different culture.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Because there's a Volvo shop on the other side of town, on the east side of Portland, that does old like Volvo.
Tanks. We getting into
Yeah.
tanks now?
Thanks. No.
Yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, they are, right? My my wife and her ex-husband used to race a Volvo.
240.
No,
That was a Nissan.
like
Oh.
152 or something. I'm not into Volvos, so
It
I'm
was
not
just
sure.
boxy. That's all we didn't know.
Yeah.
No, the old Volvos actually were really cool and rounded and stuff. But they were still built like a freaking
the
tank.
60s were round ones.
They were heavy duty.
Yeah, that's what they had was a 60s.
That's boss.
I think it's a 142, Volvo 142 maybe.
Not a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of my range, for sure.
What about
But
Saabs?
another culture that I want to talk to, right? And Mini Coopers. There's a guy in town that builds old Mini Coopers.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember what company it is. His name's Jeremy also. I met him at the Portland International Auto Show a few years ago. Really interesting guy.
I wish we could have got together and gone to the swap meet last weekend. That
Where was that? Down here?
Yeah, in Portland. That would have been perfect to see people and
Have
get
you
contacts and all that
been
jazz.
to the one in Puyallup?
Yeah. I've
No.
been there.
Have you been to the one in Portland?
No.
Yes.
No?
Oh, so you've been to Puyallup and I've been
Yes.
to Portland.
Okay.
There we go.
So the Puyallup swap meet is 3 times the size of the Portland one.
Yeah, it's massive.
Wait, it's bigger than PIR?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's at the fairgrounds and it's like huge.
Okay.
And there's multiples, right? There's the car one, and then there's the 4x1, the 4x4 one.
I've just been to the car one.
The 4x4 one's bigger than the car one.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, Grant,
Yeah.
give us an update on the red car.
Which
How's
one?
Liger?
Oh, Liger. She could be better. She's still technically sick. It's definitely going to be a challenge to get her ready for race season. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, what, you got 3 weeks?
I thought we had 4.
Okay, 4 weeks.
And then minus a week because of the wedding. I got 4.
He's got 3 weeks.
I got 3 weeks. Oh gosh. I've got 3 weeks to change interior, get her running as street legal, paint body panels, rewire the entire wire harness, place the radiator fan, and then redo the differential, redo new tires, new front braking air vent system, and it depends. If those wheels come in, then we're going to have to redo the entire suspension.
So let me ask this.
Yeah.
What needs to be done to make it
Yeah,
race?
because I heard 2 things in there that actually probably need to be done to make it drivable.
Yeah.
So, well, surprisingly, with all that said, I'm still not that worried, except for the painting. That's the only one I think will take time. That doesn't need to be done. The reupholstery of the front seat needs to be done because it's pretty ripped to shreds. So that shouldn't take more than a day. The big one that needs to happen in Liger, though, is the wiring harness needs to be replaced. So sourcing one, finding one, swap it again. We found out from last year, that's the one thing is Liger has such a personality. She had one low headlight was dim. I mean, if you get a headlight that's dim anywhere, I mean, no matter what car, that's just already out. What's going on? I think it's a bulb. That's the first thing come to mind. Of course, swap bulb, same problem. Aha. So look at it, found out the pigtail's melted. Pigtail's melted. Why is it melted? Well, let's just replace the pigtail, follow it down. On the wire that's broken open partway in there, perfect. That was shortened out, place that. Good, it's all good. Go to the next race. Well, now it's dimming again. Something's got to be wrong. What's going on? So we take her back, decide to go through. I'm like, well, if this is melted, let me just follow this wire back to where it grounds out. It's got to be grounding earlier. Follow the way back, you take the fuse box off, and lo and behold, you find the wire. But it's also joined by a lot of other wires. They're all melted.
They're all melted.
Because it's like, that's not good. If it was one wire, cool, cut and place another. But the whole mess of wires, explain probably why I'm having a lot of technical difficulties. So I'm like, okay, easy. Get new wires replaced. But that's not where a mechanic stops. Mechanic goes, why? Why was that melting?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I will follow this big wire that's mostly melted, and I will follow it back. And that led me all the way to the radiator fan, which, putting power to it, guess what? Low speed on the radiator fan worked fine. High speed, instantly blows a fuse. So pretty sure the high-speed motor on the fan is burnt out. And on top of that, what also tells me it's burnt out is the wire that went to it on that side was 2 inches exposed live wire at a 40 amp circuit.
Was it exposed because it melted the jacket off?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So we're very lucky that Liger was saying, hey, look at me, headlights dim. There's something majorly wrong with the car. Because that right there is something that normally causes car fires.
Yeah.
So
Fuse box, car fire.
What's surprising
Melt
is
the
it
whole
didn't
thing.
blow any fuses,
Yeah,
especially
so
for that 40 amp one.
Yeah.
I'm really confused. I'm gonna have to go look at this.
Mm-hmm.
The harness, I think, definitely needs to be replaced. So, okay, I'm gonna give a little more background on myself now.
Okay. You're on the chair.
I am. I work in the semiconductor industry. I am
What kind of trains does that?
professionally trained in electronics and computer technology. I have a degree in that. I also was a machinist in my previous life. So when you're talking about things heating up and shorting out, I'm trying to picture exactly in my mind what components are going to cause that, right? And my mind, because of the industry I'm in, goes to root cause. What is a root cause? What is it actually doing, right?
Yeah.
And I actually got in an argument with one of my engineers today about something along the same lines.
Are we going to get in a fight right now saying how you're wrong?
No. But I am going to question you. Okay. The way you're portraying this is that the fan, high speed fan, is causing the wires to melt.
Yes.
Why?
So that would mean that the motor would be failing on that route, so the power has nowhere to go, or it's shorting out internally in there.
Did you test it?
Yeah, and putting power to it and immediately blows up a circuit.
Okay, but does that mean that the fan is the problem, or does it mean that something else along that circuit is the problem?
It's a 2-wire thing, so it goes power ground.
Somebody's having a good time outside.
Oh, yeah. I just got a boner. I'm not going to lie. Damn, he was getting it. I hope you guys could hear that.
At my house,
otherwise the boner comment just freaked everybody. That one listener's like, nope, turning it off. I'm out. I am.
Well,
out.
This is where we quit. Yep. No,
I started talking about wires, and Jeremy gets really hot.
So, and here's why I ask, right? Yeah. It's 2-wire. It's a 2-wire system. There's
power and ground.
There's power ground. There's a short somewhere.
Yes.
Something is definitely shorting out. I'm not going to deny that, right?
Yeah. So if you go...
How is the fan shorting? Because the fan's probably behind a piece of plastic and there's no way for it to actually short out unless it's an open path.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
He lost an internal coil.
Right. Yeah, so did you put a DVM to it, a digital voltmeter, and check the resistance of that fan?
No.
Okay. You need to do that.
Okay.
And you also need to do it to the low speed fan and see what the resistance difference is. Because you need to verify if it's the fan or something else in that circuit.
Okay. I get what you're saying. It's also weird.
I tend to lean towards Grant's synopsis.
I am too.
Because if it was going further out, you'd have the ground side completely melted.
I am too. But remember, I'm in the semiconductor industry, so the parts that we're dealing with are tens of thousands of dollars.
Jeremy, so what you're saying is you're going to come to my shop one of these days?
He is. He just volunteered.
No. Yeah, so it sounds
like that's what I heard.
Grant, here's what I'm telling you right now.
Right there.
I've got a part in the bed of my truck that is worth more than the truck.
Okay, I've got in the bed of my Excursion right now probably 2 parts that are worth 10 times that amount. Granted, this is Excursion.
No, I probably have $180,000 part in the bed of the truck right now that I picked up from work today.
I mean, technically my wallet's in there, so I mean, that'll be 10 times that over.
Anyway, so you think you got it traced down. So now you have to look for a wiring harness, a new fuse block.
Fuse block's fine.
You think?
Yeah.
Even with the melted wires on it, you're going to replace all that or what?
So how a Mustang goes into that is it's set in layers, and the way I was able to determine that was the bottom layer is wires in like a honeycomb grid that then plug into the bottom of like a bunch of input connectors, and then those inputs go to the top circuit with the plastic with all the relays and fuses and whatnot. So the bottom is just melted, and it's mainly on the backside on the wire port are all connected. So the actual pin outputs on them haven't even got to the other inputs. In that
so the box is fine, but the harness has got to go.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, theoretically, I could just replace maybe that one main wire, but it's wrapped around a lot of grounds. And some of them are melted, some aren't. And I don't know if there's like even because the gauge is probably on those wires are probably like a 20. They're really small.
Yeah.
And so if they even got a hairline crack in it, that would explain, because I've got right now an ABS light on. I've got emissions going on.
Oof.
And all this last year didn't have any problems. In fact, I remember I had emission problems and fixed them all. And now they all came back. So my thought process was first get this replaced and make sure all the grounds that are around the big 40 amp wire isn't the cause of throwing all my codes. and from there then solve it.
So
But,
have you tried to source that yet? What are you going to do?
yeah, I went to Ford. I just brought them a part number that I found on the wire harness. They gave me the new part number code for that. Googling that, it seems like it's not the right one. I found some wire harnesses online. I need to order them, see how long it'd take in. I figured about a week to get them in, but they can't. I feel like I need to take the entire wire harness off to verify it is, but I know that's also not the greatest idea because then you can't figure out where the wires go when you put them back on.
You need to have that wire coming tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Like I'm not joking.
I understand.
If you want that car running in 3 weeks, and it's going to take a week for that cable to get here, that harness, you're already behind, man.
I understand. I have been on serious time crunches before for racing.
Oh,
We've got Liger in the paddock still wrenching on her.
What happens if you order that cable and it's 4 weeks out because they have to build it?
I'll go find one that's closer. I mean, that's legitimately how it happened.
I know.
Yeah.
Go junkyard one?
Yeah, that's probably.
There's a couple of them down at the pick and pull.
There's one, but they're V6s, but I should be able to make it work.
Yeah.
Because the worst case scenario, I could always splice into my harness, but I'd rather just get a new wire harness. Call it good.
No, I agree with the new wiring harness, but you should have that thing on order.
Yeah. So.
No pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure.
With everything else going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure.
No pressure.
And you got your sister's wedding coming up.
And they've got hospital things, and they've got family stuff, and they've got, just everything's.
So you want to know why my wife wouldn't let me buy a trailer this year?
Oh, because we'll be working on it?
Because we couldn't get our shit together, and we're not even sure you're going to make the first race.
You see the lack of confidence in this man. He doesn't believe me.
It's not me.
How many years have we been racing and that I will get something figured out last minute? Okay, due to Jeremy, but...
Listen, I only went with you last year.
Yes.
That last year was really my first year going with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like living in chaos.
Oh, okay, so we need more order.
So...
Okay.
You know how when we went to the track,
yes,
and when we were getting ready to leave, I always had a plan. And then when we were getting ready to come home, when you were in your last race, all of our shit was packed up.
Yes.
I don't like living in chaos.
What about you, Rob? Do you have chaos when you're racing?
Have you seen my setup?
Yes.
It's not chaos, but it's not bad. It's not bad, but considering I have to do so much for the race itself, running the event, making sure everything's cleaned up, I am very often the last one out of there.
I think I typically beat you. No, it's either you or me.
You leave before I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did this year.
Yeah.
Did he last year?
No.
What, leave before?
Not last year, but the year before.
Yeah, I understand. What, leave before me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I know for a fact because I often end up locking the gate.
You would have
I'm
to.
typically the second other than you. I'm like the person right before leaving though.
Yeah, could be. I mean, you and some of the other Viper people down at the other end and that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a group of us, Arthur and his group.
Mm-hmm.
Typically they're pretty late. But yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. Do I like to live in chaos? No. I like a little bit of order. But if it gets to be chaos, that's my own fault.
Listener, I want to note this. Rob is the only one with a pen and notebook in his hands right now.
Yeah, true. Somebody got
only
keep this.
One.
Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not doing very good keeping you guys on track. So anyway,
but
to that end,
every race that we did that I went with you last year,
we won and conquered like champions.
Well, it was much more laid out and prepared when we left.
That's true.
It was much more prepared and ready to go when you were done.
That's true.
See, that's a good pit crew right there, taking care of stuff.
I mean, really, when the end of the day came around on Sunday, what did you have to do when you got done racing?
load my personal stuff, load the car up, and anything we had at the track already up. Like camp was already packed up.
It was like 15 minutes, and we were basically strapped in, ready to go. And he was walking down to say, you know, it's been a great weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's just a whole part of the event, right?
Mhm.
Everybody does it a little bit differently.
But isn't that one of the reasons we were getting a trailer so that would stop the chaos? That was a
Well,
whole
it's
point.
the
Comfort.
trailer's
It's
going to
the
help.
comfort
The
level.
trailer is going to help
Yeah.
with the chaos.
So like with ours, Rob, it's not just a comfort level because with us it's. I actually don't know if this counts as a comfort level because the fact is like most of our time is on top of us getting off of work, is then loading up the trucks, the trailer, all the wheels, going through because I work as part mechanic, going through all the tools we possibly would need, put that up, getting everything fueled up, leaving, and typically we get to the site. Even try and leave early, we'll get there about 10 or 11 typically.
Yeah, that's an early day.
Last
Yeah.
year
That's an
we
early
were
day.
there
Really
by
different.
almost 9 o'clock every weekend.
Yeah. No.
No, I don't think so.
No, we had a few.
There might have been one or two that we showed up at 10, but
Yeah.
most of those weekends we were there by 9.
Yeah, but camps then set up at 10, 11 o'clock, you know.
Then you go drink beer with
Correct.
everybody, and
Right.
it's before you know it, it's 3 a.m.
And then, but the biggest
That
thing
has
is when
happened.
we leave. So
Yes,
we
it has.
pack up, you know, all the camping supplies, the shower, the tents.
Now, your trailer,
yeah.
you use that for work too, so you can't preload, can you?
No, he can.
No, yeah, I
You can?
can. That one we don't use for work, but I do use the excursions tow vehicle. That would be the one that we'd be using for work as well. So all the work equipment's got to come out of it, and then my shop is where all my tools and stuff I use for work. So we don't
Yeah.
have anything set aside specifically for the trailer yet.
Yeah. See, I try to load during the week prior, and then I'll do my final load up Thursday night, maybe depending on if I take the Friday off or not. If I take Friday off, I'll do the rest of it Friday morning and hooked up and ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, try to get out of the house midday by Friday.
It was also tough. I don't know how it's like for you this year because you're doing more traveling this year. But like last year when I was doing all sorts of traveling, it's tough also because I'm never at the shop and don't have that prep time.
Yeah. No, it's going to be way harder this year.
Yeah. It is.
My schedule's going to be a mess.
Is definitely prepping for it. Either a late night when you're traveling. It's either you're racing that weekend. You're packing a late at night. It's going to have that, and Monday's going to be worse because you're leaving to go or you have to get everything ready weeks in advance. If you got done racing and you're racing next month, but you're traveling the entire month, that means the next weekend you're spending getting ready for racing.
Yeah,
3 weeks
very
in
true.
advance.
That's going to be the way it is for me too. I'm sure
But
Yeah,
like I was
it's gonna
saying,
be
is
rough.
the hardest part is getting done because packing, getting everything ready, putting it back in the trailer, all the stuff we've got done, and then once that's back, we got to drive all the way back to Oregon, unload the truck and trailer. And the main thing is my truck, since it's a company truck I'm being used for, that's got to be fully unloaded. All my tools have to be unloaded and then put away because all those tools are used for work again. And then it also has to be organized enough where it's not going to interfere for work for the shop.
Yeah.
So our whole thought was a trailer, not only is it more of a luxury, but because we can keep everything in the trailer and like a camping trailer, organize it, put it in that way, then we don't have to have dedicated stuff we have to keep taking and moving every time. It's a grab, leave with it, come back, leave with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it may be more expensive, especially to tow and buy one, but the amount of time we get out of that for saving is what's more precious.
Sure. I got one more question for you.
Yes.
Give me an update on the wheels. First, a little background for our listener. Ordered some wheels for the
Liger,
Mustang.
So Liger, a stock Mustang, 2007 GT Mustang.
It's an 07, not an 05.
Yeah,
We guessed
07.
earlier.
You guys guessed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I said it was a 5.
An 05 and 06 are different from an 07, 08, and an 08 and 07 are different from an 09.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Now you got the background.
there you go.
Okay, it's an 07.
It's an 07 GT Mustang. Stock wheels on that were 235 455 17s. Liger currently has 275 35 18s on her with Shelby GT 500 OEM wheels on her, which is great having 275 wide all the way around, especially having the factory look. My Mustang's biggest thing is being what the factory could have made in the Mustang. So it's heavily modified, all using Ford parts or like OEM Ford parts
Gotcha.
of different things. So with that being said, Liger needed more rubber.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
More grip.
Yeah, she's a heavy girl. With me in it and the full tank of gas, I weigh 4,000 pounds.
Okay.
And so in order to keep that and keeping the wheels cool, you need more rubber. So I ordered from Apex, and this was back in September, like 3rd, or and I actually talked to them even before that in August like 30th, about ordering.
Today is April 10th, by the way.
Yeah. Ordering some wheels to make it so I could put 315 square on Liger. That's a huge improvement.
Oh, it'll be so grippy.
So grippy. As well as I went with a silver color because I wanted to keep it looking like the factory wheels. So I'm like, great, cool. The estimated ETA for these wheels was December.
Of 23.
Of 23. They said it was going to be built. I'm like, perfect, cool, awesome. So get into November, nothing's happening. Get to December, nothing's happening. And I go, okay, no emails come in. But November, I got a charge of $1,800. So I'm like, okay, they charged me. They must be building them. That's exciting. That's great.
Yeah.
So December rolls around and nothing happens. No emails, no nothing. I actually look at their website in December and it says the production for those wheels had now been pushed back to March, which I'm already worried because with these wheels, they wouldn't guarantee it would fit with my current suspension setup on Liger. And granted, they're Petters coilovers, but that was also the suspension why I went those that was the suspension used in the Celine Mustangs of the same era of mine, while still being high performance. So I'm like, okay, not sure if they'll fit. They might fit. So I need to have time to have those wheels come in to see if they will, because they don't, means I need to upgrade the suspension on Liger again and adjust camber, caster, whatever it's going to take to fit these big wheels. I'm like, okay, no big deal. It says March. That's really pushing it. I'm gritting on my teeth. Let's see how it goes. January rolls around, no updates, no emails, no nothing. February rolls around. Their website now says in February, late February, that there's actually ones available for purchase. They have 10 sets left. Order now and get them. I'm like, what is going on? Those 10 sets, one of them should be for me. Why are they on the way? We'll check in March. They said 5 sets, 6 sets, 3 sets, 2 sets. And the March rolls around. Production now delayed till late May, June for production date. So I call the company up, and granted, this is in late March, and I've called them up multiple times during the work week, and at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 12, no answer. Always to their inbox. Would leave detailed messages, tell them, hey, you guys have already produced some. I haven't gotten any. I've got no updates, nothing going on. Finally, on the third time, got someone on the phone call, talked to them about what's going on. And took them a while to find my order. And when I said, hey, what's going on? You guys have already sold some wheels. You're now saying this. When is the ETA? Oh, they said they must have lost my order at some point or something. And they'll be on it right away. But then wheels are not coming till June or May. And I told them, well, that is after the race season starts. I have been waiting since September. It is already coming up on 8 months to 10 months now. And you were promised them within 3 months. And I've already charged before them. And I'm debating on if I want to even cancel my order. Oh, that'll be fine, sir. But if you do, they're coming in a couple months. And I'm like, really? I should already have them if you guys have already produced them and have some. There's why they're waiting is because they need to call back to factory and start making them again. And it's not like calling a distribution. I'm calling directly the factory who makes them.
They have to wait for a certain amount of orders to come in order to make a production run.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which they haven't even filled out their previous orders.
So the production run that they did and sold through March, you would have gotten a set of wheels had they not lost your order.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
my thought was...
I have not been, real fast, I have not been contacted or apologized for that, send email or a rush order or anything from this company.
They obviously don't want your business back.
Yeah, I still haven't canceled my order. I've been debating it. They normally said they would charge a restocking fee. If it's a canceled order, they said they wouldn't charge me a restocking fee.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Yeah.
I would have canceled that order.
Probably right then.
Yep. I think when they said we had lost your order, I would have been okay with that. But
if they could fill it right then.
Yeah. But the fact that they waited so long, they've charged you,
There was no
and there was no apology.
no tracking number.
I think I would have canceled right there.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I've had not as bad of an experience as that, but a few things that I have ordered for my car have taken 6 months plus to get for the same reason. You know, they have to wait for a certain number of orders to come in before they do a production run, which is kind of crap if they're going to advertise it on their website, you know, or wherever they're advertising, that in stock is what it says, what is not really true. They'll build it to order, but not until they have enough orders to fill. Mm-hmm. It's kind of rough. I mean, I missed an entire race season last year because of that.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, for the roll cage that I ordered. Never got it. Should have had it before last race season. I just put it in, when was that? February. I just put it in.
How come you didn't cancel your order then?
I wasn't that concerned about it. Yeah. I was getting in touch with them, and they gave me a little bit of runaround similar to that, but it wasn't life or death as far as, you know.
Your car didn't need it for the autocross.
It didn't need it to run. Yeah. So I needed it for big track. So
Grant doesn't need his wheels to run.
He doesn't.
It'd be nice. Because
like,
what I do with it,
but that runaround is just.
I know, it's frustrating.
It's super frustrating, especially when they already had a production run.
What's tough is
and he missed it.
What's tough is there's only 2 companies I know that make big wheels that will fit under stock fenders on Mustangs, which is Forge Star and an Apex, and that's rough. That
have you looked at FinSpeed or Forge Line or?
I haven't looked at that. Forge Line, I think it's Forge Star, isn't it?
Well, it's Forge Line is the one I know. I don't know. Yeah. Forge Star might be another brand actually. FinSpeed is pretty high end wheel.
Yeah,
check those.
I haven't checked it out, but yeah, it's that's the hardest part. Is you can get wheels and get different sizes, but to fit under a factory fender is the tough part.
Yeah, for sure. I get it.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to have to cut the sides and put a wide body onto it. That kind of defeats the purpose. If I'm doing that, it's for a pure race car Mustang, not a still street Mustang.
Right on. Well, with that, I think we should wrap up tonight. Anybody else got anything?
I got a bunch of things if I can come to mind with them.
We'll save them. We'll write them down.
Write them down. Save them for next time. Right. Listener, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Something I was going to say, and I wanted to ask you earlier, but I lost train of thought, Rob. It's to you personally. Car related. Oh, here's one thing. I don't know if we can bring this up now. This is really weird.
Dude, if this is going to take us down a rabbit hole that's another 30 minutes, we should probably save.
Maybe 5 minutes.
Bring it.
Do it.
I gotta know. I saw a military motorcycle on the Facebook, like a video on it.
A Ural?
No, they were.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe, but it's diesel. And
I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
Kawasaki actually makes one.
Yeah, I assumed it was that from the green color and stuff.
It's probably torquey.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, and I don't know why that's not a popular thing. I wanted your take on that. I'll probably have to see.
I actually just saw it for the first time a month ago, maybe, looking through Facebook Marketplace. Same thing. I was looking at bikes, and yeah, I saw a diesel Kawasaki. It was expensive too. I was surprised. I think it was a 2011, 13, somewhere in that range.
So write that down, because I think we should do a little research on that. I have a feeling that Europe probably has more of those.
Probably, yeah, maybe. Probably.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it'd be fascinating because typically with diesel you can get way bigger range and torque and.
Well, you get, yeah, that's true.
More torque and
fuel
range out of it.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see why it hasn't caught on, especially if a lot of off-road bikes have to meet emissions. I think nowadays they do, but what is the huge benefits of diesel motorcycles? Why no one's running them or not benefits of them?
Most of your motorcycle enthusiasts are about speed and quickness. Now, sans your Harley Davidson guys, but they like to go fast too. And honestly, a diesel motorcycle is not going to pick up as quickly as your L88.
No, but
Or
your
your-
top end might be
Your
higher.
120 cubic inch.
But also, you have
No,
the
I bet
reliability
not.
as
You
well.
don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
You also have reliability. Like a 2-stroke can't beat, but a 4-stroke motor, you can't beat a 4-stroke diesel.
Well, I mean, 90% of your street bikes are 4-stroke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you wouldn't be
Okay.
able to be a 4-stroke
So
diesel.
The problem, I think,
don't know.
is the weight, right? Because diesels are usually a lot heavier.
Yeah, their castings have to be a lot thicker.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would actually be a really interesting topic to like really dive into.
Write it down. Write it down.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
I wrote
he's got
down,
it.
I wrote
He's
it
got it
down.
written down. I actually I want to research that now. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You're on
Right?
it.
I think
You're
I
on
sent
it.
it to
Bring
you on
it.
Facebook.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's call that a day.
All right,
Thanks
everyone.
for listening to Untitled Car Project. Again, you can find us on Instagram at Untitled Car Project. And you can email us at untitledcarproject@gmail.com.
Can't wait to hear from you guys.